Hey guys, my name's Eric, and you've probably never heard of me, and I'm honestly okay with that. The reason I'm here is because I just wanted to share something with you that we found worked really well in our business and worked really well with business owners that we've worked with, and that is how do we use social media to make us money. And this really is not an ad, this is just something that we wanted to share with you because there's a lot of small business owners out there that are struggling with social media, or really this is actually for you if you've gone out and you've hired someone to do your social media for you and you're kind of questioning, are we getting any kind of return on that? I just want to kind of illustrate what is it that you need to do to actually either make social media work for you or train the person that you've hired to make that social media work for you. And the biggest thing that this starts when it comes to social media, the first place that we want to lay the foundations is understanding that we're not going to sell anything to anybody if they're not listening to us. And that's the biggest problem. There's a lot of people out there that know social media, they know where to click and like how to make the platform look pretty, but it doesn't matter if no one's engaging with the post, if no one's listening to you. So the first thing that we need to look at, and the first thing we need to illustrate is how do we actually start a proper conversation? How do we get someone to listen to us? And the way that we need to start looking at this is we need to stop looking at the conversation as a conversation that's us as a company to our clients. Because when we do that, let me just erase this really quick. When we do that, really what we're saying is we're a group of individuals as the company, and we're going to have a conversation with a group of individuals over here, which are our clients. And really what is happening in that is really it's an online shouting match. It's just like, hey, us over here, we're talking to you over there, and there's not a great connection. So one of the first things we want to do is we want to identify who's the individual person that we want to talk to, who's the one person that we want to talk to. Now we call this our imaginary friend. This is the person that we identify as saying, you know what, this is someone that we know is 35 years old, and they live in a suburb, and they've got 2 kids, and they've got a job in maybe the person that we're saying to, they've got a job as an accountant. And we can start developing what are their interests. Well, maybe they like to golf on the weekends, or they like to go hiking when they've got some time off work, or they like to spend time with their family, whatever that might be. But we really hone in on who's the one person that we want to talk to. Because when we're having a conversation, there's only one person that's ever going to read anything that we're writing. So we need to identify who that person is. But then we still got a problem because then it's us as a company talking to that one person, and it's not a realistic one-to-one conversation. So then what we need to do, in order to get the conversation started right, is we need to say, well, rather than talking about us, let's pick an individual personality that we want to have portrayed as our company, and we talk about that as what's our brand voice, like what's the voice that we want to have coming across in these conversations. And that could be a million different things. We've used everything from we want to be really cheeky or we want to be funny to we want to be very professional or we want to be very philosophical. It's whatever works for you and your brand voice. It's whatever you pick that you want as a representation of your company. So if we do that, then really what we've done is we've isolated 2 people now having a conversation, which is our brand voice as an individual. So we identify our company as an individual, and we identify the individual that we're talking to. And if we do that, it becomes a much more personalized conversation. But that's not enough. That's not enough to get us engagement. So where we have to go from there is we have to ask ourselves, well, you know, how do we create social media that gets high engagement, that gets people to look at it and like it and share it and all of those things? The problem is that most companies, they go out and they just start posting whatever. Now you can do that, but if you just start posting anything, it takes a long time to figure out what's working for you and what's not working for you. So what we want to do instead is we want to go out and we want to find, okay, if we know that there's companies out there that already have our audience, and I don't really care what industry you're in, there's going to be some organization or some company out there that already has your audience and they're already listening to those individuals, then all we need to do is say, okay, what are all the things that they've posted in the last little while? We'll take a look at their content. We take a look at what those companies have posted that already have some of our listeners, and we'll ask ourselves, if we look at these posts, how did they do? Some posts do really well, and maybe they have lots of likes and comments or shares or follows or whatever social media platform you're looking at. And we look at, okay, this post did okay, and this post did okay, and this post did okay, but this post did just amazing, did awesome. So then we say, what is it in this post that did really well? And we start looking for patterns that have already worked for other companies. So essentially what we're doing is we're taking all the work that someone else did before us, and we're just hacking it. We're reverse engineering what worked for them, and we're looking for the patterns that work for them. And if we do that properly, we start to identify patterns. We just start to say, you know what? Maybe this post, there's something about this post that worked really well. For example, we were working with a nail salon, and we started looking through some of her competitors that had a ton of followers, a ton of engagement, and she started noticing, with a lot of the posts that really did really well were posts that had the hand, but a very white background. And a lot of the posts that got less engagement had the hand and the nails, but with a very busy background. So she said, okay, if those are the posts, if that's the pattern that keeps coming up, then why don't I just make more posts with a clear background? And then we also noticed there were specific decorations within the nails that was like, you know what, there's specific things that we're seeing. For instance, we keep seeing horizontal stripes. Those tend to do a lot better. Let's start using that in our social media and start getting engagement that way. Or we were working with a renovation company. And they started looking at, okay, what are the renovation companies that are getting a lot of engagement? And we started looking at their posts. And we found that if you just looked at some of the posts, you could see that the posts that got super high engagement were bathrooms that had white and gold in them. Now, I wouldn't have necessarily known that beforehand, but we can start to see the patterns. We reverse engineer the patterns where we can say, now we can take that pattern. Now that's one thing. We might have found other things as well. We found out that other things that do really well are shots with the yards, having a lot of like a manicured lawn in front of the new architecture of the home renovation. So we can start to take individual patterns and we start to develop them. So we can say, okay, maybe white and gold is one pattern, and manicured yards in front of our renovations is another pattern, and maybe we find timber and stone is another pattern. That's a terrible three. And we start to look at those patterns and we say, let's take the best of the best, develop patterns that we see in the industry that work really well, and start to format our social media around that. Because that's where we're taking proven engagement and we're putting content out there that's already been proven as far as the pattern goes, what your audience is already resonating with. Now we're getting closer to getting really good engagement, but the next thing we want to do, once we've established what the pattern is, we want to go back and we want to ask ourselves, what's that brand voice, that brand personality that makes us unique? So then we post the content as far as visual content goes. We've seen the pattern, but then we post our own voice on there, and we make that unique to us. And that's what we call it a +1. It's like, what's that one additional thing we're putting in the post that's specifically ours? And we start having that conversation with an audience, and if we do that correctly, then we start to see that personality of ours coming through with proven content, and you will start to see engagement with that. You're going to start to see people, you're going to see more likes, more comments, more shares on your post, because essentially what you're doing is you've just reverse engineered what's worked for somebody else. You're taking the best of content from all these different points, which are often your competitors, and you're putting that into your social media. Once you've got an audience that's listening to you, that's when you can actually start to put offers in front of them. That's when you can start to sell them things. So what we do is we get that audience engaged, we get them listening, and then once they're listening, then all we do is we just put a campaign in front of them. Now, here's another thing where I see a lot of business owners, they're almost there, but they haven't quite got it. Because what we'll often see is, okay, we've got a number of social media posts, and then we'll put one post out there that's an offer. Oh, you get maybe 10% off of this shirt today. Or if you come in today to our store, we'll give you 15% off on service, or we'll give you a bonus. Maybe if you come in today, we're going to give you our services, plus you're going to come you get a bonus for an additional hour of our time. Whatever it might be, you get that additional time. The problem is if we only put one post out for content, most of our audience doesn't see it. So if we really want to actually push our product or our service in a way that's engaging with our audience, what we like to do is we like to put a whole number of posts that are just engaging for them, not selling. And this is where we follow what we call the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, where 80% of the time, or 80% of our posts that are just engaging for our audience, and then 20% are where we actually sell. Now that doesn't always mean you're putting 8 posts and then 2 selling posts. Sometimes for us that literally means putting maybe 40 posts that are engaging, and then we'll put 10 in a row that really push our current offer. And we find that works a lot better. And then the last thing you want to do is when you're pushing that current offer, you want to make sure that you've got an offer open and an offer closed. Because when you're selling anything, you want to make sure that there's scarcity and there's urgency that are built into that offer. Because when you have scarcity and urgency involved, we know that that's something that is a human characteristic where we have to bite on something because we think it's scarce, we're not going to be able to get it, or it's urgent, there's a timeline, there's a cutoff for it. So we've got an open window and a closed window on that offer, and over 10 days, we might push the sales for this thing, and what you'll often see is you'll see a spike where people take you up on it, and then it starts to drop off, and if you don't have that clean offer closed, where you're saying, if you don't buy it by this day, you're never going to get it, then that offer will just drop off indefinitely. If you have that clean closed, what you'll see is you'll see a dip up, and then it'll drop off. So you're going to actually make quite a few more sales because of that. Now, I've kind of explained to you guys really in what I would consider a very brief format, how you make social media work for you. For some of you, if you're interested in delving deeper into this, how do we actually develop the brand voice? How do we make sure that we're having conversations that are proven that work? How do we actually create some of these campaigns and getting a lot of examples of how we made this work for us? Then what I'll do is I'll hold a workshop for you. And to be clear, we don't have a lot of time to be delivering a lot of these workshops. We deliver a lot of different marketing workshops. So this specific workshop that we're doing on social media, we're only ever going to do this once. If you're interested in getting into this workshop, either yourself as a business owner, or what's really important is if you've hired someone for your social media and you want to send them to the workshop to figure out how to do this for you, or you want to learn how to train someone in your organization how to do this for you to get the details and the templates of what's worked for us, then I want you guys to click on the link below, and that'll get you the landing page to register for a workshop. We're going to be holding that workshop in Calgary, so if you're anywhere in the Calgary area or you want to fly in, that's where we're going to be holding that workshop specifically. So if you're interested, I'll see you guys there. We're going to spend a day going through this all, and I'll be looking at a lot of what you guys are producing and making sure that these are examples that are going to work for you. I'll see you there.